Hey everyone, it's Rogue Rage and
Hey guys.
Chris. We're here today with a deck profile of the Gear Chronicle deck that I ran at ARG Hartford. If you guys watched the recap video, did pretty well with it. Went 4-3 after never having used Gear Chronicle, never play tested anything, which was actually pretty stupid of me. Could have done a lot better had I play tested, but I didn't have the deck completed, which leads me to shouting out my friends over at Gamers Gambit for helping me complete the deck after Ideal 808 shipped me the decks and USPS lost me my trial deck, so I didn't have a deck. But besides the point, I ended up with Neo Nectars, whatever. But everyone at Gamers Gambit came through and ended up making the deck for me, and the rest of our team ended up, trading away some stuff for me, and I had a complete Gear Chronicle deck for the tournament, which was really helpful. Chris didn't go to ARG, but that's okay.
Nope.
That's why you guys didn't see him in the recap. I'd also like to give a shout out to Bart Andrioli. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He was the winner of the ARG event. He won with the cross. Great guy. You guys should go check out his channel, Spartan Trigger, which I'll leave a link for down below. And also check out some of Final Turn's other team members, Sammy, Tristan, and Pedro's channel, CT Generation. I'll leave a link for their new channel. I'll leave a link for them down below as well. Yeah, we're under one big umbrella Final Turn name, but we like to branch out. Final Turns, Chris and I for right now, and Santana. But yeah, so let's get into the deck. For my starter, I run Timepiece Draco Kid. I know most people like to run this guy over here, Gear Draco Kid. I'll read his effect. This is the guy that came with the trial deck. He's got Forerunner and Generation Break 1. Counterblast 1 and put him into the Soul. Search your deck for up to one grade 3 card. Reveal it to your opponent. Put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. I personally do not like Gear Draco Kid, just because with all...
What does he do?
You put him into your Soul. Search your deck for a grade 3.
That's so good.
It's so good.
Why would you not use that?
Because it's Generation Break 1.
That's so good.
Yeah, but in a retire heavy meta, in a rewind heavy meta, he ends up...
Use that, guys. Remember, viewers at home,
use
Gear Draco Kid.
Don't use... Well, use him if you like. I know my buddy Sammy... No, Sammy doesn't even use him anymore. I don't actually know anyone that uses him. Actually, no. Lee runs him. I don't like him. I know some people like using him because he fuels... looking for stride fodder, but if you're grade locked and you don't necessarily always want a G assist, Timepiece Draco Kid is the bee's knees. This guy's bad only in the sense that he's a late game card, doesn't stop grade lock, and in a retire heavy meta, he's just a sitting duck. So then he ends up not being able to be put into soul or anything like that. So here's Timepiece Draco Kid. His skill is Forerunner and Counterblast 1. Put him into the Soul. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Search for up to one grade 3 or greater card from among them. Reveal it to your opponent. Put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Basic grade 3 searcher. And he's what I'll stick with until GBO2 drops. And I'll probably be running Brass... Is it Brass Gearhawk? Brass Feather Gearhawk. Yeah, that guy. Which is the 10k booster. Every time he boosts. Something like that. On to my grade... zeros, my trigger lineup. I run 8 crit. So I run 4 of Steam Battler Datasig and 4 Steam Battler Meshta. Nothing more to say about that, just 8 crit. I might run 12 crit. I'm toying with the idea of running either Rainbow Triggers with the GBO2 or 12 crit once the Robin Worker comes out. Run 4 heal, Steam Maiden Uluru. Uluru. I run 4 draw triggers, so I run 4 of the Lucky Pot Draco Kid. Great trigger.
Lucky Pot?
Lucky Pot.
Don't do it, kids.
Don't do
Remember.
It's an axe skill. Put him into the Soul. Choose up to one of your Gear Chronicles, and it gets plus 3,000. So it's good to pump up either your Silent Tom or your Fate Wheel or Chronojet or even your Stride, whichever. I like put them in Soul for Agna Clock. pump up those numbers. He's also good for Soul, which, unfortunately, as of right now, Gear Chronicle has a hard time racking up. And Chris's reasoning for that was what?
Huh?
What was it that you said? The reason that they don't have units that fuel the Soul yet? It was a game?
Oh, it's a balance mechanic to keep them in check. Yeah.
Yeah, because with all... yeah, that'd be
you
pretty...
gotta balance their power.
Which is probably why I'm going to run the stand triggers. The rainbow triggers next set. Going to my grade 1s, I run 4 perfect guards, because perfect guards are perfect guards. You'll notice that I run 2 of each one. This is Withdrawn Gear Raven, which is the common one that came in the trial deck. And this is the Unflipper, Steam and Arlem. I'm going to probably switch to 4 of her, just because in our locals, in our meta, our local meta, the cross isn't really...
Oh, no, wait! Stop everything! Oh, this only works if it has a copy of itself. You have to run 4. You have to.
Yeah, for the... I was going to get to the effect.
Remember, viewers...
Choose a card from hand, discard it. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your vanguards, so it can't protect rear guard. So if you're playing in a local meta, and your local meta is heavy with the cross, you might not want to run her. You might want to run Gear Raven. And then if there's a card named Steam Maiden Arlem in your drop zone, choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. So it's also a good unflipping mechanic. I'm going to be switching to 4 of her, though.
Remember, kids, a Zerum. 4 Zerum. That's his name.
I run 4 Steam Breath Dragon. This is the Stride fodder, and in a Stride heavy deck like Gear Chronicle, it's amazing. If you don't know what Stride fodders are, while you're paying the cost for Stride, this card gets plus 2 grades, so it's essentially a grade 3. So when it comes to striding and Stride fodder, if you're on grade 3, you've got another 11 potential grade 3s. And his other skill is he's a Chronojet Searcher. So choose a grade 3 card from your hand and reveal it. When this unit is placed on rearguard from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Chronojet in its card name. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, choose a card from your hand, and discard it. Kind of lengthy, but yeah. I don't really use his effect to search out Chronojet. I end up always just using him as Stride fodder. Oops. Sorry about that. Get it back to focus. There we go. There. We're good.
Ta-da!
I run 3 Summit Crest Gearwolf. Chris will be familiar with the skill. It's kind of like a Bruno. His skill is Generation Break 1. The ability is active if you have 1 or more face-ups you can use it. Actually, that's something I want to bring up. A lot of people don't realize there was some confusion. When it comes to Generation Break 1 abilities, unless it's... you're at Generation Break 1 once you've already strided, so there doesn't have to be a face-up... Stridden.
Remember, kids.
Grammar's important. There doesn't have to be a face-up card in the G zone. There just has to be at least 1 stride unit face-up, yeah. Except for cards like Ragnarok, which specify face-up in the G zone. Generation Break 1, when your opponent's rearguard is put into his or her deck due to an effect from one of your other cards, you may pay the cost. There's an errata on this card. There is no cost to pay. It gets plus 3,000 until the end of turn, and that does stack. So a good combo is like with, if your opponent has a full field and for some reason they can't draw guard Chronos Command, he ends up getting 15k on top of his 7k. And I would run 4, but I do find 4 a little bit too cloggy. And then I run 3 8k vanillas, because 8k vanillas, early game rush. The deck itself is a little bit slow, so you do want to run some of the vanillas. That's it for my grade 1s. On to my grade 4s.
Grade 4s?
Wow, I said grade 4s.
Remember, kids, numbers.
Well, there are grade 4s in the deck.
Counting.
But on to my grade 2s. I run 4 Steam Knight Purser Illy. This is the Legion mate for the deck. I actually don't run the Legion in this deck anymore. I didn't actually like it at all. But he's a Soul Blast 2 when he's on the rearguard. When he attacks a Vanguard, he may pay the cost. If you do, until the end of that battle, your opponent cannot call grade zeros from hand to Guardian Circle. So he's, for Soul Blast 2, becomes a Silent Tom. I really like this card, but without all the soul charging, he's terrible. I like putting the Gearwolf behind him and, you know, rewinding some units, hopefully with Chronos Command, and stacking on the power, maybe a crit or two, and then hitting that Silent Tom effect. But the problem is, without a consistent way of building soul, sometimes he ends up being just a sitting duck and kind of useless. So hopefully we get some more soul charging. Kind of an interesting decision, but I run 4 of the 10k vanilla Smoke Gear Dragon. Like I said, the deck is a little bit slow, so I do like to go for early game rushes sometimes. That's really it.
He's a vanilla kind of guy.
I prefer vanilla over chocolate, actually, so. And yeah. I run 3 Twin Mazer Dragon. He's the Generation Break 1 12k attacker. 12k attackers are good 12k attackers. That's it. And on to my grade 3s. Threes. I run 4 Fate Wheel Dragons instead of the Legion. I know some people like to run 2 of this guy and 2 of the Legion. I just don't like the Legion. I find it unnecessary. And I end up not Legioning half the time. His skill is Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1. When this unit attacks Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do until the end of that battle, your opponent cannot call grade 0 from hand to rear Guardian Circle. So he's a Silent Tom for a Counterblast 1, which is late game. It's pretty helpful. I'd rather sit on him than the Legion, even though the Legion hits for higher numbers. That Silent Tom effect with the booster is just, it's clutch. And his other skill is Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. When it's placed on Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards, and your opponent puts that unit on the bottom of his or her deck. So it rewinds him. What do you call it? I call it rewind. Just because the whole time. I know a lot of people call it talk. Some
throw,
people.
I call it a throw.
You call it a throw?
A scoop. The scoop.
Scoop is what you do when you play them.
No, it's a scoop.
And then last of the grade 3s, I run 4 Chronojet Dragons. I don't have any shiny ones. They're all commons. Like I said, the deck was put together for free with a lot of help. So no matter what, I will always run these commons because they mean something to me. Generation Break 2. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, until the end of that battle, this unit gets plus 5,000. Your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater units from hand to Guardian Circle, so he becomes a Glory Maelstrom for free, which is actually really...
Free?
Well, 2 strides, which is practically nothing. No Counter Blast or anything, so it's great. This is, if you guys don't know, Chronos trump card. So, you know, it's going to be running every Gear Chronicle deck. Counterblast 1 during your turn when your G unit strides. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and rewind it. On to my grade 4s, or some people would like to call it the Stride deck.
Ultima summons? What? That's what they are. They're like summons from Final Fantasy. These are like giant creatures, like powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they are, kind of.
I think of them kind of like the the Egyptian God card from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah.
Kinda.
Wow.
Or like the commanders in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I run 2 Interdimensional Dragon, Lost Age Dragon. If you guys don't know Stride, Stride said choose one or more cards with the sum of their grades being grade 3 or greater from your hand and discard them. Stride this card in your Vanguard face down. Got triple drive. That 15,000 is added to the base power of the heart, which is the card that it's strode over. When his attack hits a Vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rear guard, and your opponent puts that unit on the bottom of his or her deck. Works well with the Gearwolf as well. And it's a free rewind if it hits, so it just puts some nice pressure on your opponent. It's a good first stride, or if you have to G-assist, these are the 2 you'll dump. Or maybe one of them and one of these guys. I run 2 Interdimensional Dragon, Chronos Command Dragon. Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 1, choose a card from your hand and discard it. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent puts all of his or her rear guards on the bottom of his or her deck. This is a really fun card. Some people say run 4. I think that's stupid, just because it's heavy cost and your stride zone needs way more important things like the 4 cards I'll bring up after this. It is fun to bait out their perfect guards with this and then riding into Ragnarok. It's fun against clans like Gold Paladin, where they need that field. It actually worked wonders at ARG for me. What was I gonna say? Against Gold Paladins, when I would rewind their whole field and end up swinging with Rag Clock, and they had little hand to work with. It was great. And on to the last card of the Stride deck. My absolute favorite card. I run 4 Interdimensional Dragon, Rag Clock Dragon. This is Chris's favorite card too, I believe.
No.
Counterblast 1 and choose a face-down card named Interdimensional Dragon, Rag Clock Dragon from your G-Zone, and turn it face up. So it's a G Persona Blast, or G Persona. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, until the end of that battle, your opponent cannot call grade 0 cards from hand to Guardian Circle. Then, if the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, this unit gets +1 crit until the end of that battle. So, essentially, you're hitting for 30 plus with a crit, and they can't guard with zeros if this is your second stride, which there's no reason it should ever be your first stride. That's just stupid and a waste of resources. Nothing more I can say about this card other than I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Favorite card in the game ever.
Shiny.
Some people think it should be limited to 2 because it's so deadly, and you can't flip over G units with triggers like Wakey Wakey Worker, but I actually had one guy that beat me at ARG complain that it should still be limited to 2, and I completely agree with him. Chris was saying saying the same thing the other night.
Or at least have it flip over a copy of itself, like all the other ones.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, you flip over a copy of itself. I think this card is a little bit OP in the sense that it shouldn't gain a crit. I'm okay with the Silent Tom effect, but the crit is what really sets it apart. I was playing against a Saints Blow player, and I've never met someone so salty, and I've never had such an awkward moment, such as this moment. He was sitting at 2 damage. I knew he had a lot of zeros in hand, so I was pretty aggressive with it. Strode into Rag Clock. It was my second stride of the game. Went to attack him. He couldn't guard. He just couldn't guard it, and he was already hitting for 2 crit, and then I triple critted the shit out of him, and I felt terrible. Other than that, it's a great card. Put in a lot of work for me that day. Any other cards? I don't have any other cards, but here are some cards that you might want to run in the deck that I know a lot of people are putting in their builds.
You gotta run that guy.
And we'll start with the grade 3s. Ruin Disposal Dragon. This is the Legionnaire for the Legion mate. When he legions, you could rewind a grade 2 or less rearguard from your opponent and put it on their deck, and when it attacks, it gets +2k. I don't like running him, but I know a lot of people do like running him. It's just a matter of personal preference. I don't run him yet, but I will be running him after GBO2 when I fix my deck up for GBO2. I run 4 Steam Fighter Ambers, Generation Break 1, Counterblast 1 when it attacks a Vanguard. If it's boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and put it in the bottom of the deck, so you rewind it. But yeah, I'll be running him at 4 once I start running Nixie Number Dragon and the other support for GBO2. And then there's Steam Scaragigi. Soul Blast 2, when it's placed on rear guard, you may pay the cost if you do draw a card. I'll be running 2 of her next set. Other than that, because I won't be running the Legion mate, Persia Ill. Like I said, with the soul problems of the clan, she's just not optimal yet. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about the deck. I really enjoy the clan. I think it's great so far. It's got a lot of potential. The only thing I would say about it is that the main deck itself is extremely vanilla. It's, completely Stride reliant, which I understand. Bushiroad's pushing this new clan to advertise for Stride, but I think the main deck has to be beefed up a bit with considering how... I mean, I guess I understand why they wouldn't make it too OP, just because the Strides are already the bread and potatoes of the deck. But, I guess we can't have it all.
Nope.
Do you have any other words to say on the deck, Chris?
It's very good. It is a balanced deck. very well-rounded. Good for new players to pick up if you're looking for a new deck to try out. Yeah, it works really well.
Chris isn't a fan.
No,
throwing the noob.
It's fun.
I think it's the clan that I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna try to not clan hop anymore, and I'm gonna work with these guys because I'm excited. You know, the pioneers of a new clan.
Pioneers.
Yeah. Other than that, we've got nothing else to say. Like, comment, subscribe, and we hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Bye, guys.